Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points with Philip, and I'm actually here because I'm about to go on a trip, and I actually was thinking about the fact that I wanted to build out my travel wallet, and I figured I could do that with you and kind of go through how I'm thinking, what I'm thinking, and let's see if we can work through this together. Now, before we get into that, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube learn that, what videos are helpful for you guys. And also by doing that, that helps more people to watch it. So I appreciate that. Now, I do want to mention too, if you already are a subscriber of the channel, I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much for joining me. All right, so let's go ahead and get into how I build my travel wallet. Now, this will be a little bit different for international versus domestic travel, right? So, essentially, basically, I need to think about if I'm traveling internationally, which I'm not for this trip, then I absolutely need to have no foreign transaction fees. And so some cards like the American Express Blue Business Plus do have foreign transaction fees, so those go away, right? So I need to make sure that I'm not spending any money unnecessarily just on stupid bank fees, right? So those are very important. Now, here's the thing. Also, the only other real concern with internationally is I need to make sure that I have good backups for my key American Express cards. And the reason why is because while there are some good places that do accept American Express, it's not a given, which means that, I need to, at any given time, be able to swap out to a different card if I want to try to do an American Express primary setup. So those are my concerns internationally. Domestically, it's a little bit more open. Now, I'd still kind of prefer no foreign transaction fees just because those tend to be better travel cards. But domestically, really what I'm concerned about the most is if I need access to cash, what is the best way to do that? Because some areas, right, so if you chase with bank or Capital One or maybe even a local, financial credit union or something like that, having access to cash can be kind of a bit hairy. You need to know what ATM networks, support your bank and things like that. So that's also kind of a concern, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Now, here's the thing. I like to make sure that I have my basic travel categories covered when I'm traveling. So the first one here is going to be transit. And so this is going to be what is like if I'm getting around by a bus or a train or something, how am I paying for that? I like to have that kind of in advance, right? The next thing I want to think about is I want to talk about what card I'm going to use for food. Because most of the time when my wife and I travel or I travel, I am doing it to experience new things food-wise. And so I like to have a strategy before I leave about that. That way, whenever I'm actually in vacation, I don't have to go think, oh, well, do I want to do this one? Do I want to do this one? Am I working on this sign-up bonus? No, those decisions are going to be made ahead of time and, well, right here. So also, I want to think about what hotels I'm planning on spending. Now, because I have multiple hotel brand credit cards, I want to kind of strategize, okay, if I know I'm going to be staying at a Marriott or if I know I'm going to be staying at a Hilton, I'm only going to be bringing those cards that I need because that's going to help me to make sure that my wallet isn't, well, way overly stuffed, right? And the next thing I want to think about is, am I using a rental car for this trip? And if I am, how am I paying for that? So I can either optimize spend for sign-up bonuses or I can optimize spend for benefits and protections. So we'll talk about that too. Now the next consideration and kind of the final consideration is if I'm going shopping. So let's say I go to a gift shop at the Louvre, right? And I see this wonderful mug that I want. What card am I using for that to maximize sign-up bonuses, maximize multipliers, whatever it is my strategy is at the time? I want to go ahead and get all these decisions out and in my wallet. That way, my decisions, my thinking, the complication of making these decisions and planning has already been done. That way I don't have to worry about it. So now without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the trip in question. So the question here is a guy's trip to Louisville, Kentucky. So we're actually going to be going on a couple of distillery and packaging warehouse tours, and then we're going to be, kind of going to the Louisville Slugger Museum and doing some things like just doing kind of the touristy thing. Now, this is a domestic trip that's going to be using flying Delta Airlines from Orlando to St. Louis, or sorry, not St. Louis, Louisville. And so we're going to stop over in Atlanta. So that's important. So the first thing I want to get into for my wallet, now this is my Extra Wallet Pro, and it's in kind of a darker brown. And it's really, really nice. I really do like the feel of this leather. It's fun to to feel and to kind of like just hold in your hand. And it also really looks good just sitting on a table. Now let's go ahead and talk about what I want to pack in it first. So the first thing I'm going to pack is basically essentially cash. And so the cash here, the reason why I want to have cash is, first of all, because I like to tip the housekeeping staff at whatever hotel I'm at, but I also like to tip if I'm going to a lounge and getting a drink from a bartender or something. I'd like to be prepared so I'm able to actually tip them. So I always carry a little bit of cash in my travel wallet. I'm actually going to put it inside this little pocket here. That way it doesn't really hurt how the watch folds, and so that's going to be there. Now, before we get into what's in my wallet, let's take a look at answering those category questions. So first category for transit, we're going to be doing a rental car. So the thing that I need to optimize the most here is going to be gas. And so that's going to be a top concern. Now, the second one, we are going to be eating out a number of times. I was able to book a number of interesting experiences through Resi. And so that's going to be a top concern, right? Third, we're going to be staying at a Hampton Inn by the airport. So I'm going to make sure that I have a Hilton card in my wallet, and then we're going to have a rental car. And so we're going to need to plan on that spend as well. And then we're going to figure out what my catch-all is. Now, let's get to work on finishing up building my wallet. All right, friends. I know that I'm talking to you about my travel wallet, but I really did want to talk to you about something else, and that is a travel bag. And so this could be really interesting. So it's a vacuum packed bag, and it doesn't really look like it holds that much, but I'm actually going to go ahead and pack a lot. So I'm going to pack, let's see, here's 3 shirts. So I have 3 Under Armour t-shirts that I'm going to be using. And now on my trip, I'm not actually going to be going into really a lot of kind of fancy places. So I'm going to bring 1 polo with me, and that's actually going to be worn while I'm flying. But then I'm also going to go ahead and, just kind of pack everything else in this bag. So this is a said bathing suit. And so that's going to go in here as well. Then I have another t-shirt, because you can't ever have too many t-shirts. And then we're gonna have a bunch of socks. So I just kind of get some, no-see socks at all. And then we have a couple of pairs of underwear from Tommy John. So we're gonna put that in there too. And then another pair of shorts. And so I'm gonna go ahead and basically even this out pretty much. And so I don't know if you can see it here. So it hasn't been zipped up yet, but what's going to happen is I'm about to zip it up here, and then we're going to use this handy little tool. Now, this zipper is kind of intense. It's actually vacuum sealed, and then we're going to use this. Now, this is a little, this is kind of loud if you were able to hear that. And so this is actually a little vacuum that's going to go into this attachment here. And then so we're just going to place this in this little attachment, press the button, and then it's going to start vacuum packing all of my stuff. And so you can kind of see everything is shrinking down. So, all right, so now you can see that everything is kind of shrunken, and it's in this really nice, very compact case. And so this actually can fit in my backpack, but it's actually gonna go on my, basically my carry-on suitcase. And so basically this is gonna have everything that I need. I'm just gonna be wearing a pair of shoes, and then, having, we'll need my breathing machine as well, because I have a BiPAP machine. But anyway, pretty much that is what all set. So pretty much most of everything I need is going to be all set up in this nice vacuum packed bag. Now, if you want to learn more about how you can get access to this or other extra products, go ahead and go to the link in the description below, and that will give you 10% off anything in the store. All right, now I'm going to go back to telling you all about my travel wallet. Okay, so back to my wallet. So we already put the cash in here. Now, so what if we need more cash though? And that's going to be the first question. So let me take a look here. And in those cases, I actually like to, whenever I'm traveling, just use my Charles Schwab debit card. And I know it's kind of reflective. There we go. So this is a debit card with my Charles Schwab brokerage account. And it also has a money account, like a cash management account. And so here's the thing though, this has, not only does it have no foreign transaction fees, but it also reimburses you at the end of the month. So when the statement closes at the end of the month, it reimburses you for every single ATM fee you have incurred without limit worldwide. And so this is the card that I carry with me, and that way I don't have to worry about if they only have like a PNC bank near me. I can go to this bank, I can go to the PNC bank, use this debit card, and I actually by the end of the month don't pay any ATM fees, foreign transaction fees, anything. I've used this card successfully to take out money at a BNP in Paris. I've used it to successfully take out money by the ATM that's next to the Buckingham Palace in London, and all those ATM fees have been reversed. So that's going to be the first thing that goes into my travel wallet. It's going to go right here. Okay, so the another thing that I have to do is think about gas. Now for gas, I have a couple of different options. So I do have the business gold card, and so that gets 4 points per dollar on gas. But the only problem is I'm not working towards this sign-up bonus anymore. So I have something else that gets 4% back on gas purchases, but I'm also working on a sign-up bonus for it. So this is the Gemini card. It's black, it's kind of pretty. So I'm going to use this for my gas purchases. So that's going to go in my wallet right here, right? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is hotels. And for my hotels, because so far in this quarter, I have used the Hilton credits on my Hilton business card and on my business platinum card, I don't need to optimize for credit spend, so I actually need to optimize for point spend. So that is going to go on my Hilton Aspire card. And so this one is going to get me 14 points per dollar on anything I charge to my room at the hotel, which it is a Hampton Inn, so probably not a whole lot of that going on unless I go really crazy at the lobby store. But I'm prepared for it, right? So that's kind of hard to beat. Now let's take a look at dining. So for dining, first of all, the Gemini card, which I used, is already in my wallet, has 3% cash back, well, cryptocurrency back on dining purchases. And so because I'm working on that spending bonus, I probably will end up using that the most. However, I'm not going to go anywhere without my American Express Gold card because that gets 4 points per dollar on dining and groceries. And so I'm going to make sure that this is in my wallet too, so at least I have some options, right? So that's going to go right there. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at rental cars. Now, here's the thing. I really would prefer to use my Ritz-Carlton card. And the reason why is because this is as a Chase, a Visa Infinite Protections. And what that means is that this has primary rental CDW, collision damage. And so if the car is damaged in any way, accidentally or through weather or something like that, it's covered. Now, if it's stolen, it's actually still covered as well, up to, I think, $75,000. So as long as I don't go crazy on the rental, this is going to keep me covered. However, I'm also working on another sign-up bonus. And so that sign-up bonus here is with the American Express Business Delta Gold Card. And so this doesn't have any higher multipliers on rental cars, but I do have access to American Express's premium rental car protection service. And so whenever I put the rental car on this, I get immediate primary CDW on that card just because I pay, I think, the $12.95 fee per rental period. And so this is a good way to make sure we have that protection. And I'm also working towards a sign-up bonus to get those 60,000 Delta points. And so that's going to go right here as well. Okay. Now let's take a look at shopping. So I'm pretty much going to be using the Gemini towards any subs. However, that only gets 1% cash back. So if there's anything that's going to be too terribly big, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have my Venture card because that gets 2 points per dollar. And it's a pretty solid travel card. So we're going to do that. All right, so that is pretty full, but we got to talk about some other stuff we want to bring too. So now, one of the travel considerations that I have is I'm bringing actually my friend with me into either the Sky Club in Atlanta or the Centurion Lounge. And for either of those cards, I will need my Platinum card in my wallet. So basically, Delta is my airline carrier for the credits on this card. And so if I end up using this card to pay for the Delta Sky Club entry for him, that gets reimbursed through that credit. Now, I also have a situation where, like, I've offered, to cover the Centurion Lounge because we're actually going for his birthday. And so, that charge has to go on this card. So I need to have it with me as well. So that's going to go right here, right in this little cubby. Now, let's take a look at some other things I want to carry. So I did mention the fact that I wanted to carry the Delta Business Gold card, and I want to make sure I have that physically, even if it wasn't already in my wallet, because I want to make sure that I have it in case I need to verify the priority boarding status or the free check bags or something like that. So that's there. All right, now I'm also going to bring my Priority Pass card. So this is actually my Chase Priority Pass. And the reason I want to bring my Chase Priority Pass and not my American Express Priority Pass is because this gives me, essentially more guests, a little bit more leeway. So this definitely seems to have a little bit more power. I'm not sure how much more power, but it seems to be a little bit better. So that's going to go in my wallet as well. Now, I also need to make sure that I have my driver's license, which, I'm not going to show you, but it's behind here, and that's going to go in my wallet as well. So I have everything in here and then in here. Now, one other thing that I do need to make sure that I'm bringing with me is my extra card finder card. And so now this is actually the second one because the first one stopped working on me, and this one loses battery a lot faster than the 6 months. So, I have to charge it a couple times, but it's really good. It works with Apple Find My, and then that's going to go right in this back pocket here. So this is my travel wallet, right? So let's take a look at going the extra mile. So I'm kind of neurotic, and I am kind of terrified, first of all, of being caught in a place where essentially I don't have access to money or resources or something like that. So what I like to do is I actually like to go ahead and pack up a backup wallet and put it in my travel suitcase. And so essentially what this does is that if I lose my wallet, or if I lose it, or it's stolen or something, I am able to still come home, use money, whatever it is I need to do, I have that option. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go ahead and load it with my Fidelity Rewards Visa card. This gets 2% cash back on everything, and so that's going to go into the wallet. I'm also going to use the Capital One Saver card, so that's going to help me to get 3% back, or 3 points per dollar back on dining and grocery purchases, as well as entertainment purchases. So that could be good. And then I also am going to throw in my One Key card here because I'm working on this for a sign-up bonus too. So not really my top concern right now, but it might as well go in the wallet. And then also I want to make sure that I have, in the off chance that I need to do something else, to like buy a new ticket or something to come home, I want to make sure I have my Ritz-Carlton card because that has a decent credit limit, but also it has a lot of protections on there as well. And so that is my backup wallet. Now, this is the extra wallet here. This is just the matte black aluminum kind of textured one. And so, this is a really cool little mechanism. It's very smooth. In fact, it's actually, I want to show you this card here. So this is the full wallet, and so you can actually they make it really easy to pull out the card that you want with this mechanism. But I'm going to compare it a little bit to Andar. So Andar is a wallet that I had before. I did buy it, however, I don't really use it very often, and the reason why is because, well, it's kind of, I don't know if you can hear it, it's kind of clunky, but also like it's spring loaded, which is nice, but there's a little bit of yeah, you got to do. And so, this one actually almost shot out. And so it's harder to use. It's kind of like, it looks nice, right? But it's harder to use. You don't really I haven't really been able to get that much benefit out of it. And then like this mechanism gets stuck. It just got stuck when I was doing that. Yep. See, it got stuck. So you got to click it back. So the mechanism on the Andar wallet, not the best compared to Exter. Now this is just a simple, smooth mechanism. It's not spring loaded. You're just pushing the things up, And so that is what I like about these wallets. So, okay, so that is my travel wallet. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or if you think that I should be using a different card, just go ahead and throw that in the comments below. And I can't wait to see you again until next time.